Well, thanks for joining. We'll be starting here just now, I guess. Let's see. I think we're gone live. And so welcome to another Nailing FX session. Sorry, my webcam is not working for some reason, so I can't hide up in the right-hand corner, but that's okay. You know who I am. This is Opa. And I'm coming to you from Bien Hoa in Dong Nai province of Vietnam, where this morning at 9 o'clock, it was already 85 degrees Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Well, I expect we'll have a thunderstorm here early this afternoon or about noontime. It is Wednesday, and it's 10 a.m. here in Vietnam, just after 10. In London, it's just after 4, and Tuesday night in New York. So welcome from wherever you're coming. All right, and here is again the July schedule. Today is the 15th, and I'm coming to you on FX Street. Next Wednesday, I'll be broadcasting on the YouTube channel with Trade with UFOs. And then on the 29th, the last Wednesday of this month, I'll be back on FX Street. Remember, you can go to www.tradewithufos.com/OPA. And at the top of the page, you see Get Together button. Click that, register. Don't cost anything, so don't worry. And you'll get the full schedule, and you can also put it into your calendar. All right, so let's get going. With the disclaimer, obviously, the following videos, clips, demonstrations, presenter guides are for educational and instructional purposes only. Tradedictive and Trade with UFOs and its presenters provide trading information purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the products. Users understand that all the content used in the information presented is purely for demonstration purposes only and are not instructions to take trades, and we do not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through any presentation demonstration does not indicate in any way that the results you may receive by using the products or methodologies we offer. All right, with that said, let's take a look at what we're doing. Today is my 6th session with Trading FX, Nailing FX series, in the Nailing FX series. So what we're going to do is we're going to review the trade from last session. If you were with me in the last session, you know that we had a very successful trade, and then we went and we put on another trade. So we'll review that Euro USD trade. And today I'm going to also introduce you to the TSI, the TSI-CCI combination, and the ergodic TSI, a little bit of strategy and setup. So that's going to be correlated with the MT4 data using TradingView. Then we'll look at monitoring and managing multiple time frames and get into maybe hunting for some potential trades. So let's go ahead and get started. Here is the setup that we did last Wednesday, okay? We had a nice setup here. It looked like we could see price come down to our buy limit. We set up a buy limit with a stop down below, okay? And then we had the T1, a little better than a 1-to-1, a T2 target, and a T3 target all set up. So that's what we saw on the MT4, okay? Now notice the MACD was giving us some good information. It was lining up to show us that it was going to come down, and we anticipated that it would come down and go back up. All right, here is what we looked at initially. We went to the TradingView website and saw that we had some sell zones just above here. So that was a good indication that we would see price move to the downside. Our profile profile, both in the trading view and on the, we were back here at the time, indicated that price was going to come down. Looking at the dots down here, we saw the red dots. So that indicated also that there was a good chance for price to come down. We had a buy zone right here, and I went just below that buy zone because we had several buy zones set up, and I set up the stop just below that second buy zone in case it came through. Okay. All right. So that was the initial thought of how we were going to take the trade. And so then we can see here what happened. All right. So we had our initial target, our initial setup target was at 1.12855. We had the buy at 1.12370, and we had the stop at 1.12156. Kind of hard to read that inside those yellow areas, but those were the numbers. And as you can see here, here we were watching the climate. This is the climate, and it showed that for the downside, we had about 5 periods, and this was on a 1-hour chart. Okay, so we had about 3 hours more to anticipate that price would come down. So that was the initial setup. And here again, after seeing the initial setup, we kind of rushed it at the end of the last few minutes of the last class. So I saw that we could have not only just this T1, but also a T2 and a T3. So I added those levels for the movement of the price. Still anticipating, looking to the left here, you can see this is where price took off. The profile at that point, excuse me, expanded significantly. And so it moved up from that level. So that gave me a comfortable buy level, especially where the trading view zones were right in that range. The stop loss further below. And historically looking back, we could see that price again took off, crossing above the signal line of the MACD, and then crossing also the 0 line and moving up strong at that level. So that was a good level to identify for the buy limit. All right, so on Thursday, the next day in the afternoon, early in the afternoon, I went and took a look at what is going on with the trade, and what I saw, as you can see here, is that yes, price did come down, but it in no way came down close enough to get our buy. So it took off as we expected. It took off and reached the T3 level. Okay, so remember, this was the T1, this was the T2, and this was the T3. It did go there. Now, the moral of the story is, obviously, if you take the time to come back and look at your charts frequently, you don't have to sit in front of them, but if you're using an hour chart, maybe come back in another hour, take a look at the top of the hour, what's going on, you know, take a quick peek, then go about your business. Same thing, the 4-hour chart. Take a quick peek, and maybe you would be able to, you would see at this point that we needed to adjust the trades. Okay, and as price moved up, we saw it here in the MT4 chart. All right, so here's what happened last Wednesday. We put on a trade and it was in the last 10 minutes, I think, of the session. Everything looked good. We put a buy limit down here based on looking at the trading view buy zone, just below that buy zone. I anticipated at that time that price would move through that zone, hit me, and if it did continue, because it showed here that price was dropping, right? The MACD was indicating that we would be dropping, and we actually crossed below the zero. So there was a good possibility that price would move down strongly. We saw that the climate, the auto climate down here, was also telling me that price was likely to continue to come down. So those were the setups, the initial setups that I had. After the session closed, when I was getting ready to review, I noticed that rather than just go with the buy limit and head straight for this big target up here, I inserted a T1 and a T2 target so that we would know, obviously, when price crossed the T1, we had a better than 1-to-1 risk reward. At that point, I would obviously move my stop just above the entry so that I would cover my commission and the spread and maybe make a few points and be in a free trade. From then on, come back and take a look every once in a while and monitor and manage that trade. Well, I didn't go back and look at this trade. And so what happened was the next day, on Thursday afternoon, I went back and took a look, and what I found there was that, yeah, price attempted to come down, as you can see here. Then the MACD showed that the strength to the downside was weakening. A little bit came in, weakening, and then obviously crossed the MACD, crossed above the signal line. You can see that here in this area. And then it just came on and took off to the upside, hitting our big T3 target, obviously, but we missed the trade. So at that point, I canceled the trade because I didn't anticipate that price would come all the way back down without coming through and knocking out this trade. So if, as I was saying before I realized we didn't have sound, if you take a peek at your trades every once in a while, if you're trading on an hourly chart, maybe at the top of the hour, take a quick peek, take a look, see what it's doing, see if you have to make any adjustments. That's monitoring and managing the trade without sitting in front of the computer for hours and hours on end. Same thing with the 4-hour chart. Every 4 hours, take a peek, see what's going on. And you can then adjust your positions. We would have seen, had I been doing that, had you done that, you would have seen that price had changed. The MACD was definitely rising, and the profile showed that it was coming up. So we could have probably taken a trade somewhere as a breakout of this level and had a stop down below, and when it took off up here, again, move the stop to a free trade. So this is what it looked like on Thursday afternoon on TradingView, and you can see that it went up as it's going up here, and there it is again. The phase indicator is showing that well, it's got a lot of strength to the upside, and the algorithm is saying, based on what has been programmed, it is likely to change direction. Now, that means that this is a possible alert period, right? An alert period. Now, to confirm the alert period, we need to have a close below the alert period. Well, that didn't happen. All right, that did not happen. We had price moving sideways, and the profile continued to show strength, right? The profile continued to show strength, looking down at the climate, even though it had gone beyond what it was expected to do, it was still showing some strength, the heavy blue dots there. And looking at the MACD, again, the MACD was strong, staying above the signal line, finally turning a little bit later. And you can see here that what happened to price? Price went into an overlapping, and I don't see it, you don't see it at the top here, but there was an overlapping sell zone. So that would give me an opportunity to probably go ahead and want to look at the possibility of a short up at that level, okay? So that's if I had been monitoring and managing it, but obviously it was too late on Thursday afternoon, so we canceled that trade. That trade was canceled. So here, now let me get into introducing you to the TSI, the TSI-CCI, and the ergodic TSI strategy. Now, one of the things that you notice here, and I'm not too keen on it, I don't like it actually, is that when you use the TSI-CCI, and this is in TradingView, it's not in MT4, so you need to sign up for that TradingView account. And if you're going to sign up for TradingView, let me know. I'll give you my link. It'll help you out and it'll help me out. So I'll give you the link to sign up for TradingView. You don't have to pay a fee initially, but if you want to have access to all of the great indicators that are in TradingView, like the TSI-CCI and the ergodic TSI, then you might consider subscribing. All right, so as going back to one of the things that I'm not too crazy about with the TSI-CCI is that when it starts to show green, okay, when it starts to show green, it's a good indicator. It's a very good indicator for showing but what it does is during the period that it shows green, it's going to paint all the candles green, and I'm not too crazy about that, all right? I'm not crazy about seeing all green. Here we see red candles because the TSI-CCI thinks that there's weakening. Well, yeah, it's weakening. There was a push up into the zone right up in here. This is a 1 hour chart, and so here again, what are we looking at? We're looking at the auto UFOs. That's these right here, right? So if price comes up and hits one of our little spaceships here, UFOs, the zones are, based. You've got to concentrate on the UFOs. Okay, concentrate on the UFOs. The zones are kind of an extra addition to help a little bit, but you concentrate on that. So you would be able to trade here. We'd see price to go up and then come down into the zones here. So the TSI-CCI moves in this range. Once you can see here where it had red, it's saying that it feels that price is going to be coming down, and you can see it did come down. The profile showed that, but it's a little behind in terms of coming back up into here, right? So what I concentrate on is the color change of the TSI-CCI. Here's the color change green, and you see this little shaded area back here. This is where it's still thinking there's weakness, but we've overcome that weakness by the color green here. And so I'd be looking at that up in here, again, noticing that the profile, remember the profile is getting very, very tight and flat, and then the profile breaks open, and we can see that this TCI also shows significant move. Now, looking at the ergodic TSI, this crosses a midline here, and what we not only are we interested in the crossing of this midline, we're also interested in when this green line, you can hardly see it probably, but when this green line crosses the red line, and so when there's a crossover, there's an indication there that price is possibly going to change direction, right? So here it crossed, went flat, and just opened up a little bit here. Now, I didn't show this in conjunction with the MACD and the climate. We'll take a look at that in just a second. So here's your introduction. This is a standard indicator in the trading view, and this one is also a standard indicator in the trading view. You don't have to pay extra to see these, but you are limited in the number. I've got the EMA, the SMA, the WMA, the auto phase, I've got the UFOs, I've got the TSI. So I've got a bunch of indicators on this one chart. If you're using the free version, you won't be able to have that many on your chart. All right, so let's take a look. All right, so let's do a quick correlation. Now I'm on the 4-hour Euro USD. Yesterday, looking at this yesterday, and what I can see, remember I showed you that you could draw trend lines to identify divergence on your indicators. Okay, this is an oscillating type of indicator. The TSI is an I think it's called True Strength Index. Okay, the True Strength Index. The other one, the CCI, was developed by Woody. If you are an older trader, you probably have seen Woody's CCI trading approach. So they're combined here. And you can see here we had a high peak in the TSI and then a lower peak in the TSI, but price made a higher high from here. So there's divergence, and price was going up, the indicator was coming down, and again extending that line. Now we can see here as price crosses above the profile, and we're seeing this turn green, and we're seeing down here the ergodic TSI crossover. So we've got multiple indications that at this point price is likely to go up. Okay, and so I don't know what the zone was at that point in time. What we do is we look at here. Now the zone is showing that it's coming up, and there's actually two zones here. They're overlapping. This UFO is topped by this upper end of the zone and this lower end of the zone, and this UFO has its lower end here and its upper end here. So they're overlapping. So that's a big zone, a very big zone. And when you have really, really big zones, especially in the 4-hour chart, it's kind of difficult to make a decision in terms of where you're going to put your stops and entries and things like that. So what do? We have to, look at it a little bit closer and use some other tools that are available. And so here again, down here on this TCI, again, the crossover, and it matches up here again. Down here, we had a cross. Here it crossed the midline. Here it's crossing the trend line, the extended trend line here. So there's lots of good indications that price would go up in the 4-hour. We've got a level here where I see what I call a flat, where price hit several features. When you see opens, highs, lows, and closes in relatively the same place consistently, that's what I call a flat area. That shows consolidation, shows indecision, and it's a precursor to a likely strong move once it breaks that flat area. So looking at the trading view on this side, now what does it look like on the chart over here? And again, what do I see? I see that the MACD stayed above zero, showing that even though we had some weakening, obviously we had some weakening, and that's what happened. We're showing strength, and now these arrows that you see here, I will explain to you at a future time what they mean and how they are developed. That's a proprietary indicator that I created that helps to identify what direction price is going to go. You see here, this arrow basically indicates that if price goes below this level, it's going to come down. So that would be a good place to put a stop. Here again, so when this arrow comes in and I see trading above the profile, it's a good indication to me that price is going to move up. Correlate that down here, and I know where the stop is. The arrow helps me identify a stop level that might be a little tighter than maybe a zone that's way down below here. So it helps out. And then so as price moved up, we see that the stop was moved up here, and this basically indicates that price is going up. Price crosses through that, obviously we'd be stopped out, and when price continues to come down, we can see that. So I have red and blue arrows. I'll explain those in full detail and make those available to you in terms of as an indicator in the future. So stick around, you'll see that. All right, so now that we've taken a look at the introduction, let's go ahead quickly and see if there is any opportunity, what happened here? If there is any opportunity to close that. And okay, so here you can see me now. Unfortunately, the webcam is not being picked up by the sharing software, so can't really do much with that, but say hello, nice to see you. All right, so let's go ahead and go to, here's what I was showing you. All right, here is the indication. Price was going up on the 4-hour chart. That was what I showed you there. And All right, so here again, how do we read this? How do we read this? Okay. We can see that we've got auto phase indicators telling me that price was going to go down, and the buy zone was telling me that price is going to continue to go up. Profile saying it's strong to the upside. Remember, the blue line is our direction, the red line is the street, and the green line is the guardrail. All right, so we can see that. So here we are looking now, if this is a valid alert period, we need a close below that low. All right. So here was the divergence. Here was the divergence where price went down. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and take this off so that we can look at this kind of well. All right, so here's what we see. Here's what we see in the trading view 4-hour chart. I don't really see anything there, but in any case, let's also take a look at the 4-hour chart in our MT4. Here again, the profile is telling us everything is to the upside. 4-hour. Let's see if I can adjust this a little bit so we can take a look at both of them simultaneously. Whoops. All right. So here again, you see what we're seeing here. These are all green. What I was telling you, I'm not too crazy about that. I'm going to go ahead and let's say we'll hide this one. That didn't do it. That didn't take it away. So we're going to remove it completely. All right. So that was removed. We should see our price come back. Let me change time frames. Go to the 1 hour. So maybe this one is the one that I thought it was the other one. So this one looks like the one that is, yes. Okay, you can see, okay, this is the one that's causing the change in the price action. All right. So let's go ahead and bring that back, even though I'm not too crazy about it. Now, how do I add the other one? I can just click up here, go to my favorites. You can see here, I thought I added it in there. Here's ergodic. Whoops, I didn't want to duplicate that. All right. My favorites. There it is. And let's see what happens here. All right, so you can see this is working out. I'm going to delete this and go back up here to my favorite indicators and add the auto climate underneath here. So here's what we see now. The upward movement in the auto climate has diminished. Let's go ahead and also add here. All right, so this is turning around where this is just the perspective is a little different, but they're the same. Okay, so we can see we're stuck in this zone up here. And there's just not really a lot of room to come down to here. 13818, 13810. It's about here. To here. That's 15 pips on the, well, that's the 4-hour chart. Let's go ahead and move to the 1-hour chart. So this is 138. Should still be, well, 15 pips or so. So we have a 15 pip possibility here, price coming down, tagging this zone here, very short trade. If this is going to continue to come down, I don't see a strong movement to the downside here. It's not very strong. We can look at the MACD. We can see that the MACD is confirming that price should be dropping. However, we're showing a lot of strength in the MACD. It's very, very tall here, and it's gone under the signal line, which is a good indication. Here, price kind of consolidated a little bit. You can see here's what I call a flat right there. There's the close and there's the open. They're relatively in the same spot. Here you can see kind of, here is a high, here is an open, there's a flat right in there, which tells me to anticipate that there's going to be flat out of that flat, and it's happening to the downside. Now, can it go down to and hit into the zone here? I'm not too sure. 15 pips is still a nice little trade. Let's go down. Now we went to the 4-hour. We looked at the 1-hour. We're saying let's go to our 15-minute chart. All right, and open this up. Pull it down. Open it up some more. Pull it down. Open it up some more. We now have 2 red dots on the 15-minute, and we should see about 5. So here we can see prices coming out of this zone, 3 zones on the 15-minute, all on top of each other. So that's confirming. We have multiple time frame confirmation of the zone, of the sell zone here. Okay. Now I've got a auto phase that's telling me, price might want to go back up. Well, yeah, it might. Let's go and take a look here at the 15-minute chart. Okay, 15-minute. Now we've crossed below the 0 line here. Okay, on the 15-minute chart, had we started looking at the 15-minute chart a lot earlier, well, we might have been able to take the trade way up here and already have picked up 15 pips. So this looks like it might be a relatively safe trade to take. I anticipate that as we run into this area here, let's see if we have any real good flats here. A little bit of a flat, pretty much where it is right now. But in here, in this area right here, we've got a really much better flat. We've got an open, we've got a close, we've got a close and an open, we've got an open, we've got a close and open, all relatively in the same area. So right, kind of splitting the difference in here, that's a strong flat, and you see what happened after that flat, okay? After that flat, price took off, and here we can see the price coming down, going flat, coming up. All right. So here we can see that this might be, as far as it goes, and that's only 4 pips. So that's not a really good indication. However, up here, let's take a look, see if I can measure that. Use the measuring tool. And if we got in here and went down to here, that's 18 pips. Okay, 18 pips that it could come down to. I've got all these sell zones stacked on each other. So because they're stacked, I'm going to have to go to the top. And so let's measure if I got in at this level and went up there. So there's another 18. So it'll be a one-to-one trade that we'd be looking at here. Okay. Are one-to-one trades worth taking? That's up to you. But since we are looking at this as an educational process, what did I do? I went through the time frame starting out at the 4-hour, okay, and used the TSI-CCI, seeing that it's coming down, showing strong, and the auto climate coming down. Okay, so I think what I'll do is for this educational purpose, I'm going to go ahead and put in a limit buy, because price is going to run into this area. So it's probably going to come up. Will it come up and hit the guardrail and reverse? Maybe, but I think that in here is probably a good area. So let me see if I can, okay. We'll put in a sell limit, just grab that, come on. All right, put in a sell limit just below the street. Okay, so hopefully it'll get down there. I know that my stop is going to be about 18. So I've got to modify that trade because it is a limit. And so my stop has to be above. And I'll just run that up a little bit, hit modify. You can see here. And so that's only a 6 pip stop. Gonna move it up, look at the side here, 17, 18, 19 and a half, right up in here. Let's make it 20. Okay, 19, 9, 20, right there. All right, so now I've got a 20 pip stop, and I'm also going to make this a one-to-one. Whoops, sorry, should not have moved that. You can see when you move a limit order, I'm creating a bracket order. So that bracket order moves the entire stop, entry, and target. So there's a stop up there. So I need to go ahead and go back into this and modify it for my target. Target is below, so run that down a little bit and hit modify, and we can see here I'm going to pull this down so that this is also about 20 pips. All right, so there's our trade, a one-to-one. Again, what I'm looking at here is my auto phase is basically saying price should turn around and go back to the upside. Okay. This is saying down. This is saying down. The profile is saying down. Okay. What did I do? What did I do? Let's see. I thought I sold. Let's take a look quickly at the 4-hour. Okay. Yeah, we sold. We're selling into strength, obviously. We're selling into strength. So this is a bit of a dangerous approach to take for a very small gain. But on the 15-minute chart, it looks fairly good. Let's go ahead and let me expand this. Okay, so our stop is up here and our target is right down in here. It's a 1-to-1. We'll see. Well, we'll see. We'll see. If I get a close above this, I may be looking at a move to the upside, but we've got a lot of sell zone here to push it down. So it looks fairly decent. Looks fairly decent. We started out, let me go ahead and retrace our steps, my steps here, starting out at the 4-hour. Okay. Looking at the 4-hour, we are looking at this above here. 4 hours still showing some strength, okay, to the upside. Coming down from the 4-hour to the 1-hour. And here again, what do we see? We see in the 1-hour that sell zone, that big sell zone. Now that zone encompasses those 3 zones that we were looking at the 15. Here's that zone down below. We are seeing that it is showing weakness. Our auto climate has gone from fat blue, heavy blue, big dot into a neutral, if you want, a neutral dot. So this looks like it's coming down. All right. And then we come down to the 15-minute. And that's what we're looking at here at the 15-minute. Okay. Looks like it wants to come down. We need it to come up just a bit on the 15-minute, right? We need it to come up a bit on the 15-minute. Let's take a look at what we're seeing here. Why does that stick up there? All right, good enough. All right, so here we need it to come up so we can get into this trade, even though it's showing strength to the downside currently. Let's go ahead and open this up. Whoops. Where is my... Boom, let's do that. And I thought, here's what I was looking for. Boom. All right. So that's the trade. We've got the trade on. I will document this trade once the session is over. It looks like, if you want to take some notes, if I can get a reading on this. Okay. We are looking for price to go to 1.13997. So basically We're looking for price to come up to the hard number. That's interesting. We're looking for price to come up to the hard number 1.14000. That's good for a price to hit that hard number and then drop and go down to somewhere around 1.13795, which is just above 1.3775, which is again would be another hard number. And our stop loss is at 196, 1.196, 4196. The hard number up there would be 1.14250. So it looks good for what we're doing. Let me see, are there any questions? Any questions on how we did this? And push this back again, back here. Any questions about this? Let me go ahead and also add, see if I can add it to this chart. I might run out of TSI-CCI. Where is the ergodic strategy? There it is. Okay, so here again, if I can move this down for you, you can see up here in this area where price was coming and then changed. This TSI basically was saying price is coming down. It crossed, you see the midline here crossed, and so at that point everything other than the auto climate, so the auto climate came in now pretty strong. We've already this is a weakness to the downside, now strength to the downside, but there's looks like a little pullback again. It colors all of the candles red, showing strength to the downside. That's it for this session. If you've got your trading view, go ahead and look for TSI-CCI as one of the indicators and the ergodic TSI strategy. Put them on a chart, take a look, see how you like them, and I will see you again next time. Next week on Wednesday, I will be on YouTube. So tune in through Trading with UFOs on YouTube. See you all next Wednesday. Have a great week.